Okay, guys, we're here in Tuner Evo Soul Flow 2024 again. We got another guest here, Tyler. Tyler owns a really sick 180SX, a drift car. Tyler, tell me a little bit about your build.
So it's a 1996 180SX from Japan. So it's right-hand drive. It's got a 1JZ in it, non-VVTi. I use it pretty often for drifting. It was a purpose-built car, and it works really good.
Did you import it yourself?
No, the car's been here since I believe 2005,
Okay.
and
Yeah, early
it's
car.
a track-only car.
Oh, so
it's
it's not.
yeah, it doesn't have like a US
street registered.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not registered for the streets.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
And what's your local event? Where do you go and drift?
Typically, we go to Orlando Speed World.
Orlando Zero.
Yeah,
Okay.
up in Orlando.
Awesome.
They have a skid pad. We just had an event last weekend. Had some fun.
The OSW qualifiers today, right?
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
I wouldn't even know.
The OSW the qualifiers today. I saw that. I wanted to go, but obviously I'm working here in Tuner Evo. Every time I travel with Tuner Evo, I always look for drift events.
Oh, right on.
Because I host my own drift events with some friends in Puerto Rico.
Oh, nice,
And
nice.
so I'm obviously really big into drifting. So every time I see a car like yours or something like that, I either wanna talk to the owner.
Yeah,
or-
Ping was actually telling me about.
Yeah.
I believe it was probably about you guys over there in Puerto
Yeah,
Rico.
probably we're Drift Island. We're
Yeah.
Drift Island. So that's my media page. And we, like I told you, we do events in Puerto Rico. I've been starting to travel now with Tuner Evo.
Sick.
In Minneapolis, actually. Shout out to I forgot his name, but the group is Clutch Up. Shout out to Clutch Up. One of the guys lent me an E36,
What?
an E36 M3. Yeah, we
That's
went
sick.
drifting in a local spot, so
Hell
we had
yeah.
fun, and yeah, man, yeah, I love drifting, and like people who are into drifting are so cool anywhere you go. You know,
It's
like-
crazy. The drifting community is insane because it's like it's a big community, but it's so tight that like everyone end up knowing each other some way somehow, and like everyone has kind of the same mindset. And like once you get bitten by the bug, it's like you have to do it, and you
Yes.
do whatever you can possibly do to go do it.
Exactly.
Like-
And I was gonna ask you, what's your drift style? Like, are you more of a competition person? Are you more of a grassroots?
No, I'm definitely a grassroots. I like building, so I build cars for
Okay,
a living.
okay.
We have a shop in Pompano Beach, and I like building competition level cars, but I'm more of a grassroots event kind of guy. Like I was gonna say, I couldn't even tell you what event's going on right now because I'll typically do private days.
Okay.
You know, so like private days, you get the most seat time.
Yeah.
And you have, unlimited track time.
Exactly.
It's hot lap after hot lap after hot lap, so it's I'm more that style than going to an event where there's 200 people there. You got to sit in line the whole time. And even for me, I'm a tandem driver, and it can still, take a while that you just sit there on grid waiting for, your run to go.
Yeah.
And private days, I like driving with people that I know their driving style. I feel more comfortable. I can get closer. I know their tells, if they're about to spin or, if they're offline or something, and they know me too.
Yeah.
I'm no professional, but, I like driving with people I know, and I'm a little more reserved when I drive with someone I don't know.
For sure. And I was gonna ask you also, like, was it hard for you to learn drifting, or did it come naturally?
It was difficult at first. So the first car I tried drifting was a Miata,
Okay.
and it was actually a spec Miata. So it had like roll bar, bucket seats.
Crazy.
It was meant to be a road race car.
Yeah.
And I tried to get it to do something it wasn't set up for. And
Yeah.
at the time I didn't know better. But that chassis was just very difficult for me. It was very snappy, and I can get one turn but couldn't, manji or couldn't connect
Yeah.
turns.
The weight transfer was whipping you around.
Yeah, it would just spin me out. And then I got into S13s, and the first 240 I got was, it felt like it almost drove itself. So it was a lot easier to drive, a lot easier to handle. But my 240 that I had back in the day had a KA when I got it. It was bone stock. So I kind of did the show car thing with it for a little while until I saved enough money to do an SR swap, and ended up doing that and started to drift it, and it drove amazing. So, I mean, that was probably like 7 years ago now.
Okay.
And
So you've been drifting for like 7 or 8 years.
yeah, somewhere around there. And it just, having the right car to learn with is definitely like something that's important.
Yeah.
You know, if you try to drive on a chassis that's very difficult to drift, or, you know, that's not set up for it, it can be, you know, it could hold you back from learning what you need to learn.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, so definitely the proper chassis and you know, but S13s, they have my heart.
And let's talk about setup. How do you set up your car? Do you like it? Do you like the front tires to grip, or you're one of these people who doesn't like grip in the front? Like
No,
what tires do you run?
I'm medium. Right now I have some Valinos in the front. I don't currently have a sway bar in the front. Being I have a cross between V1 and V2 Wise Fab.
Okay.
But the Wise
It
Fab
doesn't let you run
is amazing.
sway bar.
Yeah. I forget if I can or not. I think the brackets are there on the lower control arm for a sway bar. I just haven't gotten one
Okay.
that will fit
Yeah.
with the swap. So I would like to try that. I push a little bit sometimes and, you know, have a little understeer in certain situations, but compared to how I used to have it set up, it felt super loose in the front. So I'm a little more front grip bias, but not like a crazy amount
Yeah.
that, you know, it's just kind of swinging you everywhere.
Yeah. I like the car and not grip in the front. So my car is pretty much. I have a Z. I have
Okay.
a 250Z, and it's a stock DE. I've got a GK Tech angle, and
Great kit.
what I like it not to grip in the front, because since I don't have that much angle, I can still throw it and the car won't spin me around.
Yeah, it'll kind of drag the front.
Exactly.
Where
exactly.
with the Wise Fab, I haven't found its limits yet, which is insane because
Really?
I've been backwards.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like,
That's crazy.
I have to play with the
and you
Ackerman.
still have like a little bit.
Oh yeah, I still go.
Yeah, yeah,
It's,
yeah.
it's insane. I have noticed I need to play with the Ackerman a little bit. I put the Wise Fab on in July or around July time, before I went to Atlanta Motorsports Park,
Okay.
and I haven't got fully dialed it in yet. But in certain tracks, certain scenarios, you know, it'll do one thing versus the other. Being that I want to drive a lot more tracks this year, I kind of would be okay with keeping it how it is and letting my driving style adjust to the certain situations. I'm not a huge believer in like, you need to change the whole car for whatever track you're going to and doing this. I think that it needs to be driver adjustments
Yeah.
to be able to take your car and go wherever.
No, yeah, like that definitely goes first. Yeah, like if you go crazy setting up your car for every track, you'll just be lost at every track.
Exactly. And for most beginners, and, you know, if you're not like a true like car person that doesn't understand the physics of what you're doing, like of drifting, and, you know, it's harder to explain it to somebody that doesn't understand that versus someone who does.
Yeah.
Like, you know, someone who would build a car and they're like, oh, this is exactly why we're adjusting toe. And I can feel the difference between toe in or toe out, you know? So I think, you know, at least for me, I like to leave it a certain way and adjust my driving style.
For sure.
And if it needs to be adjusted, then I can adjust it and it'll help. But let my like driving skill adjust to wherever I'm driving.
Yeah, yeah. And I was gonna ask you, what's your goal? What's your goal with drifting? Because you told me you build cars for a living. So I guess your car is like your portfolio, right?
It's my it's a rolling business
That's
card,
your
my
rolling
brother.
business card. Yeah,
Literally,
that car's
yeah.
sick, bro. I was looking at it and it's sick.
Thank you.
So-
That's actually, so I built that. I finished it 3 years ago now. And for the future, I definitely want to get an S15 and
Nice.
let that reflect. That was the 180 was the best that I can do at the time.
Yeah,
So being that was a few years ago, I've
yeah. With
definitely
with budget
learned
and all that. Yeah,
with budget, but even with skill,
yeah.
I've definitely gotten to be able to work with different mediums, different materials.
Okay.
I've adjusted how I do certain
You
things.
fabricate everything yourself.
I
and all
fabricate
that?
everything. I've gotten to play with a lot of titanium as
Nice,
of recently, and it's one of my favorite materials to weld now. But I would there's, of course, being that it's my car, I always see faults in it and things that I would do differently. But I want to build an S15 that shows off what I can do now and my ability now, and just use the materials that I like to work with at this point and do things the way I would want to now versus my mindset 3 years ago.
Awesome. And how do you feel about the current state of drifting in the United States as a whole? Because right now, I feel like the states has so many different like scenes. Like
It's
obviously,
very split.
that's why I asked you,
very
like, if
split.
you're a comp person or you're a grassroots person. Like there's so many different places you can go drift. Like there's events everywhere right now. So
Yeah, I mean, in South Florida, it's very difficult because the closest place we have is 3 hours away.
okay,
Other than 2 times a year, there's an invite-only event in West Palm.
okay,
So for us down here, we don't really have the opportunity to pick and choose. There's also Sebring, which is 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours away. But we can't really pick and choose. If there's an event and the person, anybody wants to drive, they're going to try to drive whatever event, whether it's a comp or a grassroots event. I do know I have a lot of buddies that are like big comp guys, and they like only want to do comps and this and that, and good on them. That's great. I just personally like the grassroots thing more, and even renting the private days just because I'm about seat time.
yeah,
I want to get like dollars per smile, get my money's worth out of it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I want to enjoy as much as I can with how the time I have and the ability.
Yeah.
So to me, it's all about fun. It's about being in the community, meeting people, taking people for rides that have never been in a drift car. That's like pretty important to me. I love giving new people ride-alongs and seeing the look on their face that they think they know what they're getting themselves into, but they have no idea. And then you go for the first lap and they're like, oh my God, this is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy how people like even just like car guys, because right now we're in a car show, so most of these people don't even know what like doing a motorsport in their car is. They like building them.
I'd
they
say
like showing
probably
them off.
95 to 98% of these cars have never even seen a track.
Yeah, and like when these kind of people hop in drift cars, it's like they don't understand how it works. How you go sideways, how you keep it sideways. It's like mind blowing to
and
other
that
people.
kind of goes back into setup and stuff that a lot of people don't. You can be into cars and you can know a lot about cars, but to understand what the car does and what you change to affect how the car drives, that's why I say it's important to like build your driving skill first.
Yeah. And I always ask this to the people who drifters that I interview. If you were gonna, like, someone asks you, oh, I want to get into drifting, like, what would you recommend them to get? What car? What initial upgrades?
So 2 options. You've never driven a fast car before and you're fresh into cars, barely know how to drive manual, get a Z or a G.
Okay.
That's a given.
Yeah.
It has just enough power to drift. There's plenty of modifications that you can do. If you have some experience in a car and can handle a good amount of power, and I would say a Corvette.
Yeah.
So they're 2 great options.
And the budget, because Corvettes are a little bit more.
A little bit more, but with a Z, in order to make a Z,
A C5 or C6?
I'd say a C5.
C5.
C5,
Cheaper.
C6s are great.
Yeah.
Great chassis, but C5s are more affordable
Yeah.
at this point in time.
Yeah, at that level, yeah.
And they're very similar too. They drive almost the same. But if you want to make the same power out of a G or a Z, you have to do an engine swap, or a supercharger, which is thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So by the time you take a chassis and you're making the same power as a Corvette, you're already almost double what it would cost to do a Corvette.
Yeah.
You do a Corvette, most important thing with a Vet is to do a cage first and foremost, because they're full fiberglass body. But after the cage, you do an angle kit and bucket seats, and you're pretty set. Like, you don't have to do a damn thing to the car until you either break it or you want to upgrade your driving skill more.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 options. If I were to say, for me, like, to not drive the 180 as much and to have more of a missile car, I'd probably go with a G just for budget reasons, and hop in one exactly how it comes and go throw it at a wall and not care if I crash it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with the G and the Z and the Corvette statement. It makes complete sense. But obviously, like, depends where you live. Like in Puerto Rico, Corvettes are still pretty expensive.
Yeah, I don't know the
Z's have gotten cheaper, but now after the pandemic, they went up. Like a Z, like a clean Z could be like $9,000.
which is pretty similar to what it is here.
Yeah, yeah.
But you can also find those deals that you get one with a coilovers and an angle kit, and for $4,500.
That's what I mean though. Like
sometimes you can
in Puerto Rico you can't find like drift deals because drift deal is so small there.
It's so
that,
small.
that
Yeah,
you can't go in marketplace and be like, oh, this guy's selling a Z with an angle kit with a. It's like you gotta buy. You gotta buy a bone stock Z, and they're gonna sell you for $9,000. Bushings are all blown. Suspension sucks.
What's the Corvette market?
The Corvette market, I haven't really looked into it lately, but it's like you said, it's like a little bit more expensive than a Z. They're like 12, 13, maybe
12,
15,
13,
maybe
but
15.
But let's say
C5s.
you get a Z for $8 to $9 grand.
Yeah.
And you can get a C5 for 13 to 15.
Yeah.
There's a difference of roughly $5,000.
Yep.
Which I don't know what it's like over there, but you're not going to do any engine swap for under $5,000.
No.
For almost $10,000 even.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're going power for power, and mod for mod. I don't know how it is to get parts in Puerto Rico.
It's just it's pretty much the same as here. It's just we pay more shipping.
More shipping. So power for power, parts for parts. I think the Corvette, as long as you know what you're doing, because they're fast, even out the box, and they're scary to drive.
Yeah, there's a local guy who has a Tony. Shout out to Tony. He has a C5, and I was following him the other day. I hadn't drifted with him yet because he started drifting like 2 years ago, and he wasn't tandeming yet. And I told him like go up to B class, I'll follow you. And it was hard to follow him because the Corvette has so much grip.
It's so much grip. It's a factory race car.
Yeah.
They're meant to be on track. So that's why I say what I say about Corvettes. Although, so last weekend my car, unfortunately, I broke a diff stub, the inner diff stub in the rear end. So I got pretty much knocked out after the first 2 hours. But my two teammates has a G35 and a C5 Corvette. Luckily, they both let me drive their cars, and I was able to kind of compare how they drove. The G35, granted, it has WiseFab and it has, nitrous, which wasn't used at a skid pad event, but that car literally drives itself.
Really?
Like you're always a little nervous driving someone else's car.
Yeah, for sure.
I initiated the first turn, and it was just like, oh, this is good, and I promised them that
I mad at. Wow.
No, literally didn't lift. Foot through the floorboard, and just if I needed to clutch kick a little bit, hit the clutch or left foot brake or hand brake, but the throttle was all the way down the whole time, which was a blast. That was probably one of the most fun I had in a car.
Yeah.
The Corvette I drove, and it was very mechanical. Just the way they drive is it feels like a truck because early 2000 Chevy, it's got kind of truck suspension.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's very clanky. It just didn't feel as smooth as the G. It could be set up. Unfortunately, I work on both of them. But,
yeah.
But it's I think after driving it one for one, the G all day. Or G or Z. Same thing.
You like the steering better.
It literally, I would throw the wheel in, catch it, throw it back, catch it, throw it back, catch it. It was very little minor steering inputs.
It wasn't doing anything funny in the transition. It was just
literally
the self steer is great,
amazing. Yep. And the Corvette, I had to fight to drive.
It's Corvettes you have to steer.
Yeah,
they don't really self steer that much.
Mind you, I had the owner of the car right next to me. Oh, dude, this. I hate backseat driving, but. But no, it was good to compare the two cars.
Yeah.
And since I work on mainly that Corvette, I might be able to change something in the caster or Ackerman. I'm not a huge fan of the kit that it's got, but it works and it does what it needs to. Awesome. It's not my car anyway, so.
Yeah. So Tyler, tell me anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to mention? Maybe plug your shop.
I mean, shout out Breakbank. We're located in Pompano Beach, Florida. We build drift cars. We work on like road racing vehicles as well, NASCAR inspired vehicles.
Yeah.
We do races with
track cars and stuff?
Yeah, we have a neighbor that does Trans Am racing.
Yeah.
And they have a bunch of like old school NASCARs, like a Dale Junior car,
Nice.
A Dale Senior rebuild.
Yeah.
And so we do racing with them. We help build some of their cars. So we kind of do, the whole spectrum between, racing or even your day-to-day vehicle. We work on it. Of course, we prefer the building cool shit.
Yes.
Because it's nice to, try to do something different.
But you gotta pay the bills. You gotta pay the bills.
Exactly.
Yep,
So, we do normal cars here and there and whatever in between. So, but, I love drifting. I love racing. I love the community that we're in. And, it's taken a long time to get where I'm at now, but, I'm very happy with where I'm at. But I definitely am always chasing the next build, the next project, the next, aspiring for better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm definitely going to have to come to Puerto Rico.
Yes, let me know.
I was talking with Ping.
You hit me up.
And, maybe Tuner Evo, you guys put a little demo on.
We'll get an event going. If when Tuner Evo is coming in summer, so maybe we could do like a pre-meet maybe at the drift track. We could do that. So
yeah.
I gotta get the idea going. But yeah, for sure we'll have something special for you guys if you guys come to Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I'll get with Ping. I'll get with you. I'll get your contact info. And
sure.
I'd love to come down there and maybe rent a car and just have fun with you guys. Get down and see how you guys get down.
Count on it.
I've been to Puerto Rico before and
vacation.
No, my best friend, his family's from there.
Oh, cool.
So I've gone with him.
Yeah.
We went to the Bacardi factory. And, the castle.
Nice,
did all the tourist stuff. But it'd be nice to see that side of it as well.
Yeah, the motorsports side of
Motors,
it.
yeah,
Drifting,
absolutely.
drag racing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm definitely down to come when Tuner Evo comes down over there and let's have some fun.
Awesome, man. We'll welcome you with open arms.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So Tyler, thank you for the time.
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you for listening. We're here in Tuner Evo SoFlo 2024. Don't go anywhere. We'll keep doing interviews. See you.
Peace.